So construction is completely, booked, in some cases for years in advance. I think that your questions are appropriate. If you want to direct them to Art, let's do it. Or if you feel comfortable, telling Art yourself and have a discussion. The problem that I see is you've got a contractor that played by all the rules and put a bid in not too far out of line with the expectation. And then when you went to validate all of his credentials, they all held up.
Here's my concern, Alex. Number one, we've got the change in the proposal 3 days after the cutoff date. And now we're going to add this 1-inch quick fix to the top of the road. That's changing the entire scope of the work. So
I can tell you from experience, Mr. Roberts, that contractors live off change orders. It won't be a problem. The problem is going to be the cost of the change order. So it's normal business. Those three addendums, Danny, honestly, they shouldn't affect the bid very much. I have a question, if you don't mind, Mayor. Of the 7 bidders you had originally, you only had 1 bid received. Did the other 6 companies even give a official non-bid?
Who was those 7 people? I have nothing.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I had the one packet that Brass Eagle came in. I've talked to Todd about them. I've never heard of them before, and is kind of skeptic. And then when Art and I met him, and then I called around all these references to different cities that he's done work for, he's reputable. He's done a very good job. I think with the cost of concrete and things like that, I don't think he's too far out of the way on the pricing that he gave. I think he is ready to get started. Some of these other companies, they want to put smaller projects like this aside until they get done with their other projects. And I think Oakwood's ready for water to stop coming down in their yards and basements. I think that we need to, legally, this is what we can do. And we need to go ahead and do it. He's a reputable company. And I want to see it get started and finished.
Question of why, if there is going to need to be repair to the road, why was that not part of the project in the first place?
I'm not necessarily saying, Council Humphreys, that has to be done. We probably will have to wait and see if there was any damage on the sides or to the road itself. That's not something that's mandatory. It wasn't added to the scope of work because we did, we can't foresee what could happen. We're just saying if something comes up and that road needs to be resurfaced, then are we able to, are we going to be able to do that? We're saying when they bring that equipment in there and they see how much they tear up, like Joe said, it doesn't have to be approved. It doesn't have to be voted on. It's just we want to wait, and that's a possibility that 1-inch overlap.
It's my turn. It's my turn. I think Oakwood has waited long enough. I think we need to act on this. I think these are the only people that put a bid in, even with a 3-day more change from the 26th to the 29th. They still got their bid in, and I think council needs to take in consideration what Oakwood's going through, and they need to accept this bid, and they need to move forward.
Was there something put in the Grant County News that the bid was extended for 3 days?
Harold, did you have something?
How did everybody know that the bid was extended by 3 days?
That bid was put in the paper 3 different times, and they knew that we was taking bids on that, and Art was emailing the ones that was interested, Danny. Daryl, did you have something to say for Oakwood?
Yeah, actually, if I could take a little bit of your time. Tonight seems like we've been working together on a lot of things. Agreeing on a lot of things. Can everybody hear me right? Check, mic check. All right. Now, with that being said, I heard about the liquor tax and everything. Everybody, and I heard a comment that we got the money, we really don't need the liquor tax. With all that being said, I just spent $8,000 on a foundation wall to hold my house up, basically. I poured concrete underneath my foundation to help support it from all the damage that's been done from this water coming down here. Now, I know you said before, you bought the house, you knew what was going on down there. I'm not a construction engineer. I didn't expect the water to come down underneath my house out. Now, like I said, you all been working good together tonight. I mean, we've enjoyed it. We got a lot of Oakwood residents here tonight, but this project needs to start. Simple as that. We can't wait no longer. I mean, $8,000 to me, that's a lot of money because I you know. Anyway, I would go on with the project with these gutter, whatever you want, curbs you're putting in. This whole blacktop issue of wanting to reseal the road, I don't see that being a big issue either, because a lot of waters came underneath this blacktop here, and it's not guaranteed that this road won't pop. You know, that we won't have breakage in the blacktop. So I don't know why we can't put the curbs, seal it with blacktop, be done with it. No way water can get underneath the curb system. That could cause damage later on. You know, the curbs, you know, cars come up and down these roads. We got UPS trucks, we got Prime trucks, we got other vehicles that come down these roads. We got a Mr. Coldarn down here, just bought 2 homes down here, fixed one up beautifully, and working on the second one. He can't even complete his driveway without even knowing how this drainage system's gonna go. I mean, why should he throw out money? Yes, they were gonna repair the issues that they have to fix. I heard that before, that they're gonna fix the driveways and all that. But the simple fact of the matter, let's get it done, because if you keep dragging this out, it'll be next spring before this even gets started. So, you know, that's all I have to say. And this guy and I were sitting next to me, she'd like to say a little something.
No, I just wanted to let the council be aware, and I know that Kay is because she's been down here. There's been a lot of changes going on down here at Oakwood. Mainly because of the road, and there were 3 new houses built, and the terrain was, nobody oversee those decisions. And the water, I mean, I have True Green coming in the street in my yard. They have documented how severe the mold is in our lawns. Daryl's having his done as well, and they're just saying your yard is just so saturated with water that it's just molding over. Well, like out here in the middle of our cul-de-sac, I think I showed Kay that. Like, it's all cracked, and like when the rain stops and it dries up, all that water up underneath that ground starts coming up and going out, because the ground is so full of water. And what I was thinking, just in case, just to make a mental note, if they get down here with these big backhoes and trucks and they start running on this road, they're going to tear it up. There's no question. So I just wanted the council to be aware that that might be something that we have to address. But we've waited so long, and if this guy is appropriate, could we please get this started? I'm just begging you to help us out.
It's been a long time, guys. A lot of you guys I remember from the old, what do you want to call it, the old group. Purcell, you know me. We need to get this done. I'm not going to, guys. We got to get it done. I mean, it's been way too long. All this big for it, it ain't needed. Let's move on and make Crittenden great, you know, just like making America great. Donald Trump forever. You know what I'm saying? Mayor Kay, you're doing an excellent job. You keep it up, girl. Don't get sad. I'm done.
All right. Thank you, guys. Let's move on, council, to that. And we need to take a vote. Are we going to vote on Brass Eagle to go ahead and get started on this?
I got a question. Did we not reserve the right to reject all bids and rebid if Danny has that much concern? Was that not in our bid documents?
You always have that option. You can always.
Well, Danny seems to be very concerned about this. I haven't been on council that long. I've been on there a month, but Danny seems to be very concerned about moving forward with the with what he's explained as far as 7 bidders down to 1 with the 3 days after the cutoff. If he's that concerned about it, I just wanted to point out that that option is out there if he has that kind of concern.
I mean, look at the citizens. It's not council members that's being affected by this. It's the citizens that pay the taxes that come into the city. I'm saying, you know, it's to me, it's inhumane to put them any further. Everybody had the proper communication to put bids in. Danny has a friend that didn't get his bid in. And
No, Mayor. No, let me make that correction right now. I do not have a friend that did not get the job. I do not have a friend that did not put a bid in. I was at a construction place and people knew who I was and they said I was on Crittenden City Council and they go, we got a guy for you to talk to. They gave me his phone number. I asked, supposedly, I talked to him again. There were supposed to be 7 people who were interested.
how come we're just hearing about this right now? Right now, August 4th, we're hearing about it?
Because it was on the agenda right now. Because last month the bids were, we opened them up 1 bid. And we all wondered why there was only 1 bid. Why? This is one of the great things about council. Before you do a knee-jerk reaction, you ask why. Why were there only 1 bid? Come to find out that it had been addendums had been changed after the deadline even.
They didn't follow the rules. Those people didn't follow the rules.
I'm sorry.
This guy followed the rules.
I'm sorry, I had something in my throat.
This guy followed the rules. This company followed the rules, the other ones couldn't.
Mayor,
I don't think at this moment in time, when you have the people of your community requesting the help, that it really matters. And I think what matters is that you get a bidder that properly bid all the time to do this and get the job done correctly. You have the citizens of the community reaching out to your council members, and I believe that this needs to be settled because this has been going on for
Can we
months.
get some kind of control on the meeting?
Yeah, let's get control.
I got something to say. I've got something to say. Oakwood, November election's coming up. You remember this.
There.
Make sure you put that on your campaign record.
That's right.
I've got two things to say. Let me know when I can say 2 things about this Oakwood.
No, I think it needs to be decided. I think you guys need to step up as leaders in your community, and I believe that you guys need to make a final decision.
Okay.
You know, you guys are leaders. The community looks up to you. That's
Yeah,
why
right.
That's
what we're trying to do. This is Danny. I'd like to say 2 things. This Oakwood is very important. In the past, council at one time has made knee-jerk decisions on Oakwood. And they blacktop a gravel driveway that the buses and the garbage trucks would not even go down. They did a knee-jerk reaction and blacktopped it, and ever since they blacktopped it, that's when the water started going into people's homes.
But you can't worry about that. You've got to move forward, and you've got to make a decision for those people.
My turn.
Hold on. No, hold on. You don't have the floor. Nobody has the floor right now. Hold on.
Yes, I do. I was reclaiming my time. I was doing this. I was talking. When I put a period and I say I'm done, I'll let anybody else want to comment on it. Past council made a knee-jerk decision on Oakwood getting that gravel driveway blacktop without a good study or anything. Since it looks beautiful in the dry weather, but when it rains, people's yards and houses flood. That didn't flood before with the gravel. We made a quick decision. The deadline for the bids was the 26th. There was 3 addendums. Addendum number 3 was done 3 days after the deadline. There's got to be a problem that people saw that there were so many people wanting to do this bid that only 1 person put in for it. Somebody's got to scratch their head.
Yeah, I like to cut.
If this doesn't work, if this new Oakwood's not gonna go away. They're gonna say, we messed up the problem more, we didn't correct it, you guys have gotta fix it.
We have
Now I'm done.
references, Danny, that says this company's done these projects before from the different cities. It's not the company that should be held accountable for other people not putting in their bids. That's not fair to them.
We're using an engineer that is an hour and a half away. When they start doing this job, is he gonna be here to inspect it, to make sure
Yes.
everything's okay?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
An hour and a half away. He's gonna be here from day 1 to day 0, it's over.
Mayor, can we table this till next month, and then I can, whoever needs to.
I want to take a vote on Brad.
I don't understand why this keeps getting tabled and why everybody can't come together and make a decision.
Can I ask you to mute yourself just a second? I asked all residents to mute right now, and we need to take a vote on this.
I've got one question before we go into a vote. Alex,
Yes.
if we jump on this brass eagle and do this job, we vote on it today, we do it, we say we're gonna do it today. Where is the liability if this falls apart on the construction, as in it doesn't help, it made it worse, it made it halfway better, but not all the way? Where's that liability gonna fall?
Well, it depends, of course, if it's on the engineering aspect or the construction. So it involves the professionals that we hired, which is why they all have licenses to perform the job. So if it doesn't do what the engineer purports it to do, then of course the liability would extend to them.
So
And it happens all the time.
any future
Happens all the time.
any future repair would go back to them, billing wise?
Yeah, if this thing does not work, then we sue whoever either engineered it or whoever carried out performance of the contract and was not billed to spec.
They do have insurance, workman's comp, and everything that we talked about in the meeting with them. They have all that. If that's any relief to your mind, and I get your question. I understand that, but they are covered. They're legit. They have everything in a row, everything that they need.
If we table this for 30 days, we could have new bids before that 30 days is up.
Would you wait 30 days if you were living on Oakwood?
No, somebody made a comment about tabling this, which would be for the next meeting 30 days away.
If we table this,
If you table this for 30 days, we could have new bids before the 30 days is up.
if we table this, Danny,
It'll be next before this gets done. They table this, and they gotta wait this time to get these bids in, get this approved, all that. First of all, there's been many contractors coming down here. I've spoke to them. There was a Humphrey contractor. This gentleman here at Eagle, he was down here. I spoke to him. There's been multiple people here taking photos, taking measurements, all kinds of things. Guys, it's been 11 years. Now, I put up this water back.
You're not being mean. You've made a very valid point. There's been many contractors down there taking pictures. Does it make you wonder why there was only one bid submitted 3 days afterwards, the deadline? You're right, there were many people taking pictures. Why was there only one bid 3 days after the deadline?
You hesitate, brother. You don't get there first and get your bids in. That's your own problem. I mean, that's just how it. Sorry.
Daryl, I apologize that this has taken this long, but this has been sitting at the city building for months. This could have been viewed a long time ago, and we would have had time to work through these problems. We don't want to hurry up and do something now and do it wrong. We should have did this back in March.
Guys, we've been working on this for what, 8 months?
Well,
we finally got a bid and somebody that'll work on it and do the job. The bid's not that far off, and with concrete at the price it is, come on.
I know how
This
this
has been
street. I know
This
how
has
it.
been going on since the, hold on, Daryl. This has been going on since January 2019. After the governor's presentation, we started working on this to try to get things done. And I can't help that everything's in slow motion with contractors, getting bids in the paper, and I have pushed it. And, this, this hasn't been sitting at the city building. I can tell
No,
you right now.
city council kept parking lotting it. I was at several council meetings where this has been parking lotted because of the unsureties, and I think
Mayor,
that.
would you get a hold of this meeting so we can finish? We need to finish this meeting.
We just got the right of way to put the pipe through somebody's property 2 months ago.
I asked the residents to hold back, and asked that the council members would please consider Brass Eagle as the contractors for the project for Oakwood, so we can go ahead and get started and then order the storm drains and things that they need. They have to have time to order those concrete storm drains, and like the residents said, it's gonna be months again. If you guys do this, we have to put it in the paper, we have to get bids, and are we gonna be sued? Think about that.
I would like to hear from Joe. I believe he has the most experience with this kind of thing. And I believe he's tried to talk several times and he keeps on talking over top of it.
Go ahead, Joe.
My biggest concern here isn't with the choice of the contractor. We hired Art Harden to do this. He did a detailed design. We paid $10,000 to get that. And at the last minute, he's got 3 scopes of work. The contractor is going to build what's designed. Why were there 3 scope changes? That makes no sense to me at all. The contractor has liability to build what the design and the scope of work calls for. Why were there 3 changes? That's inexcusable.
It was an addendum, Joe, and it wasn't a big change. And the people, the people received it. So,
But the point is, here's the big mistake, and it's a lesson learned on big jobs that we do anywhere. Any big jobs that we need to bid, we need to have a pre-bid meeting with everyone in the room, understand the scope of work, go to the field, see the scope of work, and you freeze the scope. You don't have scope changes that makes this thing fluid. If I was a contractor,
that's why the city hired Art Harden. Art Harden is the engineer. He's
and from an engineer's standpoint, I would fire him.
Oh, ridiculous. I asked you to be on that committee and council Humphreys, and you wouldn't show up for a meeting.
3 scope change. I have the floor right now. 3 scope changes are inexcusable from an engineering standpoint. You asked my opinion. That's what I've given you.
Well, how come you didn't show up at the meetings when we had them with Art Harden in the beginning? Because you all got an attitude about Art Harden.
And he should have done a good job.
He did.
I'm saying something happened. He screwed up somewhere, or there wouldn't have been 3 scope changes.
No, he didn't. Are we going to vote on Brass Eagle, or are you all just going to say no?
Mayor, is the floor open for motions?
No, it's very concerning that there are 3 scope changes. We need to understand why.
Is the floor
Thank
open?
you.
The contractor's going to build what's designed. Okay? Question is, do we want to take the risk, or do we want to rebid it? In my world, I would rebid it, and I'd have a pre-bid meeting.
And here's the thing, you guys wouldn't communicate with me from the beginning. You didn't show up for the governor, you didn't care about Oakwood enough to show up. You was on that committee, Joe. Council Humphreys was on that committee.
Oh, I was never on that committee. Hey, you're lying.
Oh.
I was never on that committee.
No,
In the beginning,
the letter.
Mayor, is the floor open for motions?
Go ahead, Council Purcell.
I move that we reject all bids and rebid this project.
I'll make a second.
Thank you for that. Given the concern that I've heard, there's at least 4 people here who are concerned about this enough to raise this much concern. So I move that, my motion would be that we reject all bids and rebid.
I make a recommendation what Alex, the attorney, advises on what could happen, but go ahead, Council.
Mayor, I'm sorry, you don't have a vote. So,
No,
was there a
that's what I
second?
said. Go ahead. I said go ahead.
But last
I don't
month,
think it's funny. I don't think it's funny one bit, whoever's
I'm
laughing,
not
this is
laughing.
somebody's
I'm asking
livelihood.
for a second. We're beating a dead horse
I'll
here.
second the motion. I'll second the motion. Let's move forward.
Last month,
What are
Alex
you
told
making
us
a motion on?
it was our decision whether we reject or accept the one bid that we did get. And we were within our rights to do it.
Yeah, let's call the roll, please.
Roll call it.
Okay, roll call. So motion was done by Councilperson Purcell, second by Humphrey. Dusing.
No.
No. You're voting no to reject the bids or yes to reject the bids?
Reject the bid, and I'd like to rebid it, just to clarify, rebid it with a pre-bid conference, understanding the scope of work with all the contractors.
Then that
You
would
get
be
that
a yes.
together, Joe. Why don't you
And
get
I would
together?
I'd like to also add to that motion, if that pre-bid conference be on site.
Yes.
Then I'll amend my motion to incorporate those. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Call the roll now.
Hey, one more thing, Jim. Can we get a performance bond on that?
That should definitely be a part of the bid. I assume it is.
Well, I have not found it yet in any of this paperwork that I've got.
Talked about that, but go ahead and make your motion, what you wanna do.
I won't amend to that extent. I'll leave it as it is.
Okay, so the motion is to reject the bid, to have a pre-bid meeting at the city as well as on site with all contractors and
That's
engineers.
the motion.
Seconded by Ms. Humphrey.
Hey,
is that right?
Yes.
before you go, let me ask something else, Jim.
Hey,
Before we
let me
do
jump
that.
in.
Hold
Guys, let me
on,
jump
hold on.
I'm
Go ahead,
reviewing
Alex.
I'm reviewing the ordinances now, and we have an ordinance, I'll cite to it, just so you know. It is 23-104, and it pertains to sealed bids. And it requires, if we reject the bid, it requires, under subsection paragraph I, the city reserves the right to reject any and all bids and waive informalities and minor irregularities in the bids. Grounds for rejection include, but should not be limited to the following. So we probably need to give the reason that we're rejecting the bid in your motion, Mr. Purcell, if you could, just to be safe.
We're concerned, council, as to the timeliness of addendums and scope of work not having been properly noticed by all bidders.
Okay, so it's a notification issue. Just I want to make sure we put that in the reason for the rejection of the bid. Failure to.
Notification and bidding issue, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Timing issue, I guess. Wait a second.
When do we put a date for the new bids? When will it get put in the paper? When would the deadline be for the bids to be in by? And when would the date of the meeting be, an on-site meeting?
Hey, Danny, I've
Yes,
got an
sir.
answer. Under 23-104 sealed bids, all sealed bids shall be advertised not less than 7 nor more than 21 days prior to the date of the opening of bids. So the council can decide, we don't want to wait 21 days, we want to wait 7. Given certainly the fact that the scope of the work is out there now, you guys can do that. Or you can elect up to 21, give everyone ample time. But there's according to our ordinance, there's a few things that need to be in this bid package. Again, I just want to make sure that these things are in there. So it's up to you if you want to designate 7 or 21 days. No more than 21, no less than 7.
And can we add some other things to it, like penalties for dragging it out and that sort of thing? Or is it too late to do that?
You mean liquidated damages if they don't get it performed within a period of time?
Yes.
That's all. I mean, the engineer, of course, I don't have any experience on how long a project's going to take to perform. So we would definitely need to rely upon the engineer, based upon his experience, to tell us what's an appropriate timetable.
Well,
That wouldn't be in this motion. That would be in the new bid.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, if we do 21 days, that for the deadline to receive the bid, that will be August the 25th, which we would have these bids before our next meeting to vote on. Does that need to be put into what Mr. Purcell's doing right now, Alex, or
No.
is that something that we do later?
You need to do that after we're done with this. Mr. Purcell's motion needs to be heard. It's already been specified, so it needs to be voted on now. And then once you guys have rejected the bid, then you can go about the process of putting it back out for bid.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, so back to roll call. I had, the initial motion from Purcell, second motion Humphrey. Dusing, you said yes, I reject the bid on the premise of having a pre-bid meeting at the city and on site. And then Martin, what's your vote?
The same thing as Joe Dusing's, exactly what he said.
Yes.
Yes to rejection.
Yes to
Ms.
rejection.
Lowry?
And have an on-site meeting.
A pre-bid
Okay.
meeting.
That's a pre-bid meeting, which is, sorry.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Sean.
I got you, Joe. It's okay. Yeah, pre-bid meeting, classified by the engineering. They run the pre-bid meeting. The contractors show up. They have questions. They go on site. They review it. All that detail. So
Before the deadline of the bid, yes.
yeah, I hope the engineering company can do all this. So Lowry, what's your vote?
No,
To rejecting.
yeah, no to rejecting it.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes to reject and rebid.
Okay. So we got the motion, the second, and I got 3 additional yeses. I'm sorry, 4 yeses. Sorry, and then the 1 no.
You should have more. You should have more than that. You should have 6 votes.
Mr. Purcell's vote.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. There's a motion. You're right. I have 5 yeses to reject, 1 no.
Hey, feel free to look your voters in the face when you're voting.
Daryl, go ahead, Daryl, and hop off, or I know you're upset. Go ahead and mute. I can't. As we move on to business, we had Council Purcell had a question about the ABC officer and the mayor.
Mayor, can I add something? I don't mean to interrupt you. Can we agree right now on a date for the pre-bid meeting and a date for the deadline to accept the bid? That way we will have all this information before our next monthly meeting to vote on this, and this is only putting this thing back by less than 30 days.
I agree.
Okay.
Let's do that.
That's fine.
Let's open the
So
bids
I make a motion.
Let's open the bids on September 1st. That'll be our next meeting.
Yeah, but you want a pre-bid meeting, right? So when will that pre-bid meeting be?
Well, you gotta advertise it.
Guys, remember what Alex said, Our ordinance is that we have to have bid deadlines between 7 and 21 days. 21 days will be August the 25th. So you all pick